Welcome to our conversation with Julie Estis, who's visiting us from the University of South Alabama. Welcome, Julie. Welcome to UFM, to Guatemala. We're very happy to have you here. You're the director of Team USA Quality Enhancement Plan. It's a campus-wide initiative focused on using team-based learning in the University of South Alabama. So why change the way we teach?
Well, I noticed in my classes, since I began teaching in 2004, that students were engaged with a lot of other types of materials like phones and computers and Facebook or Instagram, and they had every type of information and knowledge at their fingertips. So my role became less about telling them a lot of facts and information and statistics, information that I only had that they didn't have. Now they had that information, so I felt like it was important to create ways for them to learn to use that information. So how do we take all of the information that we have available to us and use it in meaningful ways? So team-based learning allows us to get the students applying their knowledge to real-life situations as they work together in a team. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges we face with our students is that they will take a lot of information in, memorize it to take a test, and then it's gone.
Yes.
Do you have the same problem with students
here? I think we
here?
all have the same problem, yeah.
Yes.
So it sounds like an exciting method. Can you tell us a little bit more how you got involved with it and how the university started implementing it and how has it been developing over the years?
Sure. I began using team-based learning in 2012 as we started a campus-wide initiative focused on team-based learning and using it in our classrooms. So that summer, we brought in a trainer named Larry Michelson. He's one of the developers of team-based learning. He came to our campus and taught our faculty all about the approach. It was 2 weeks before the classes started, and I became so interested in it, I said, I'm just going to try this. It was very scary. I didn't know how it would work for me, but I understood the principles and why it might work well. So I just said, I'm going to give this a try. So a few weeks later, I started using it in my classes, and I transitioned all of my courses in speech-language pathology. That's my profession. I started using team-based learning in all of those classes and had great success with it. I saw the students really engaging with the material, thinking about it in deep ways, using some critical thinking and problem-solving skills, and I would give them realistic clinical scenarios that they had to solve. And I saw it work very well. So that's how I started using it, and I've been using it since that time consistently.
And you mentioned the principles. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the principle? What is it exactly, the team-based learning?
So team-based learning is a specific type of collaborative learning. The students are in permanent teams of 5 to 7 students per team. They work together throughout the entire semester to solve complex problems. And it has a unique instructional sequence. The course is broken up into content modules, so areas of understanding that the students need to have. The faculty member starts their planning by thinking, at the end of this module, what do I want my students to be able to do? Mm-hmm. So
start with the end in mind.
Exactly. So backwards design principles are utilized to start with the end in mind. And as you think about that, it allows you to say, okay, if that's where I want them to be, what do we need to do to achieve that? So the professor's thinking about that, and then they design from there what kinds of activities would help the students accomplish that end. Now, I don't know about you all, but I've found that students sometimes don't read ahead of class. They don't come to class as prepared as we would like them to. So they begin the module with some expected reading Or it could be a video lecture by the faculty member or something they access online. So they start by working independently outside of class. That allows them to understand the foundational terms and concepts, vocabulary, basic principles.
It's a bit like the flipped classroom.
So you can combine a little bit of the flipped classroom approach with team-based learning, exactly. So they do a little bit of independent work outside of class. That first day they come to class, they take a test as an individual. So that holds them accountable for their reading, and it also prepares them to work together as a team. They take that same test as a team, which you can imagine their performance improves. So just in that first 30 to 45 minutes of class, they already have a much deeper understanding of the topic than they had previously.
And the test serves as a learning experience as well.
It does, especially because they get immediate feedback. As they're working together as a team, we use these scratch-off forms, and they know right away, oh, we got that one right, or uh-oh, we missed that one. Let's keep talking through it and find the best answer. So right away, they know if they were correct or incorrect, and they realize how to come to the correct answer.
Okay.
So at that point, you have students who have foundational knowledge. They are ready to begin applying that content to what we call application activities. And team-based learning application activities have a 4S approach. So you give each team the same problem. So everyone's working on the same problem, and it needs to be a significant problem. That's the second S. Meaning it needs to have some meaning and not be trivial or too easy. It's a real significant problem that students might encounter.
A real world problem.
Exactly. Yes, so it's the same and it's significant. And then all of the teams make a specific choice. So rather than an open-ended question where you say, discuss this topic, they must make a decision and narrow it down to some type of specific choice. That's the third S, is specific choice. And then the fourth S is they report that back simultaneously. So all of the teams at the same time indicate their specific choice. From there, the instructor facilitates discussion among the teams. And one team made a selection, they ask another team, well, why was your selection different than this selection? Tell me about how you came to that answer. So the teams have this discussion across the teams to really almost argue the best answer. And you achieve higher levels of critical thinking as they go through that process. It fosters really rich and meaningful discussion of the correct answers. And the professor builds really challenging cases that may have two answers that are quite competitive and similar.
And all that happens in the same class period.
The application activities often take place over multiple class periods within a module. So the first part of the module is the readiness assurance testing. And from there, they move into maybe 2 or 3 class periods of application activities.
Okay. So for your students, it's changed a lot, but both for professors and students. So what will you say are the main challenges and the main benefits both of them get out of this new method?
We'll start on the student side. I think the biggest challenge for students is they are required to think independently and do some independent work prior to class time, and they may not be accustomed to doing that level of studying outside of class. And then they also have the expectation of working well together as a team. So they are not able to come in, sit down with their computer open, keep to themselves. They really have to engage with the class time.
And that's a challenge if they're not used to this way of working, I guess.
Exactly. So for some students that can be a bit of a challenge just because it's different from what they're accustomed to. For the faculty, the challenge comes from creating this type of material. So when we think about course design and development, often faculty have taken the approach of, here's the textbook, it's broken up into chapters, I will cover these chapters. But with team-based learning, the work of the professor comes in planning the activities in meaningful ways.
Okay, sounds like really exciting. I'm getting almost as excited as you were at the end of your course. Can you just share very shortly a favorite learning experience of you as a student?
Yes, so when I think back to the most impactful learning experiences I have, they often relate to some type of experience, something that I did where we worked on not just listening to someone, but doing something. And in speech pathology, those meaningful learning experiences came from hands-on practice. So working with a supervisor, helping me learn how to address an issue with a new patient that I had never seen before. So those were the most meaningful learning experiences. A lot of times they came with nervousness. Oh, I don't know how to do this. Am I going to be able to do this correctly? But then after that experience, you have the confidence and skills to treat that kind of patient.
Right.
And one of the most impactful moments I've had after using team-based learning was from a student. She caught me in the hallway and she said, I have to tell you, I just started seeing patients as a part of my training at a hospital. So she had not ever done that before, and it was her first time doing that. She said, because of team-based learning, because we practiced so much together in the classroom, my supervisor thought I had seen this type of patient before.
Wow.
And she had never seen that type of patient, but we had practiced together over and over and over again with her team, and she had feedback on that. So she felt really confident going into that new setting and applying the knowledge and skills she developed.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
So unfortunately, our time is up. So thank you so much for this conversation, and I'm sure we will all students and professors benefit so much from the workshop you're going to give here at UFM. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.